excellent money. She's in a large law firm of about 80 in Huntington
Okay.
Beach. Or
I think we're actually on now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, so we had a small technical difficulty with Restream, but we are here. Wait, let me give it just a second. Brian, I'll let you tell me when we're on everywhere. Should be to the candidates with a contract CWAC Facebook page. Says we're online. Let's see.
No, I don't quite see it yet on the CWAC page.
Uh-oh.
It is on Facebook. We are live on Facebook. Or
But-
I'm sorry, not Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah,
But not yet on Facebook. It usually takes a little longer on Facebook, though.
okay. One sec.
I'll refresh the page and see if it comes up here. And not yet. Let's see.
All right. Just one second.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave it up on the others. Just need to check something here. It is saying we're online, but I don't see it. That's very strange.
I don't either.
Okay, I think it's just still trying. There we go. We should be on.
Check it. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yay, we made it. All right. We are here with candidate Pat Elder, Maryland's 5th Congressional District. Sorry, we're slightly delayed. We had some technical difficulties. So I will start by giving you the floor and just letting you introduce yourself, Pat.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that, Kelly, and I appreciate the work that you do in attempting to clean up the American political system. We are in desperate need of reform because the bad guys have taken charge. And I think it ultimately has to do with the corrupting influence of money in the political process. And so, I think cream rises to the top. And as I see the candidates that have signed on to these contracts, I see excellent people, and I think the work that you do is remarkable. So thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for joining us. And yeah, we have really enjoyed meeting all these candidates, and it's really interesting how similar you guys sound. And, I always kind of describe it as it's kind of Bernie's platform, but it's just candidates that are all wanting to make positive change and get the money and corruption out and start representing the people again. So I thought we could start out by talking about what you're up against in Maryland's 5th District. And instantly when I hear Steny Hoyer, I thought of the Intercept article.
Yes.
That was a very powerful piece.
Yes, it was.
It taught us what we already knew, but it demonstrated it very clearly. Lee Fang did an excellent job on that report. And
Yes, absolutely.
People out there didn't catch what was happening. Steny Hoyer, of course, is the Democratic minority whip, and as such, that's the guy that gets everybody in line for pieces of legislation, etc. And so Steny was in Colorado, and he was in the offices of Levi Tillerman, and Levi was running as a progressive in the Democratic primary. And Steny didn't want him in the race. And Levi actually taped the conversation with Steny Hoyer. And so we got a firsthand glimpse of how the Democratic Party really functions behind the scenes. And it is a party that is beholden to corporate interests. So if you want to know why we have 1.5 trillion in, student debt, well, it's the financial companies that contributed candidates like Hoyer. And if you want to know why our lungs are full of crap that comes out of coal-fired plants, well, it's the energy money that goes to Hoyer. And I think your listeners and your watchers here, understand that song and dance. So Steny Hoyer received 67% of the vote last time. And as a Green candidate in the state of Maryland against Steny Hoyer, I'm hoping to get 5%. It's a realistic goal, and that 5% will supposedly allow me into a televised debate sponsored by the League of Women Voters. That debate that poll will take place a couple weeks before the election. So, of course, we don't have money. Steny Hoyer has millions of dollars. In fact, he has so much money, he's able to sprinkle it around the country to corporate-leaning Democrats. I just wish people would wake up to the realities within the Democratic Party. Both the Democrats and the Republicans dance to the tune of the same corporate joke.
Yes. Well, we could always invite him to come on here and debate with you. Somehow I don't think we'll get a response.
That's
but
sweet. A group of activists in Greenbelt, Maryland are organizing an empty seat town hall.
Perfect.
We're inviting Steny Hoyer, and the League of Women Voters are having a separate, just in the county, one of the counties down here, Calvert County, Maryland. But it's unlikely he'll show up. Why would you?
Right.
And that's the thinking, right? You're so smug and you're so high and mighty, and you have 67% of the vote. Why would you want to talk about the quality of the air or the water or the cost of student loans or health care?
Right.
That's you don't want to do that.
Now, when you're 67% of the vote, you were talking about in the primary just recently, right? I wrote.
Hoyer got 67% 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
In the general election.
Right. Oh, right. Okay. General election. Because I wrote down some numbers here. I always find it very interesting. The largest block of people is the non-voters.
Right.
And so from Ballotpedia, this is a little outdated, but it was the 2010 census was all they had there. But so the population of Maryland's 5th district, it was 726,753, and there was a total of 83,323 people that voted in this last primary.
In the primary. Right?
Yeah, that's
numbers are quite a bit larger than the general.
right, of course, but that's less than 12% voter turnout, and yeah, of course you would have more. I wrote down not percentages but numbers from 2016 in the different counties. But you have like Calvert and St. Mary's that were actually red. So I guess you know that, but I was kind of surprised.
There's a cultural sea change between in the span of about 60 or 70 miles. We have
Right.
I'm next door to a slave house, and 5 miles from here there is a statue to the Confederacy. All 5 county commissioners went on record once they were challenged, affirming its place in our community. So this is the South, and people don't seem to realize that Maryland during the Civil War basically split in half, and almost all of the white men from this part of the state went and fought with the Confederacy, and the Confederate flag still flies over lots of households down here. And you just drive, and it's a testament to gerrymandering. Basically, a very, very small geographic area of the district takes in a very deeply blue area comprised predominantly of African Americans and Hispanics. So it kind of looks like
Right.
this, with this teeny little part, all black and Hispanic and poor, and everything else red. And they managed to get their 52-48.
Yep.
Or actually a little better than that.
We have that in North Carolina. I'm in Chapel Hill now, but used to be in Asheville, which is very progressive. And yeah, they just did the same thing, little scoop like that, and shoved it over with the red county. So just killed that. But I did want to actually address, there was a comment, I don't know if this person happens to be watching, but there was a comment. I posted the Intercept article about Steny Hoyer, and I believe the link to the video is in that. But this person said propaganda. Well, I mean, I guess maybe they're not a fan of the Intercept, but there's a video of this, of Steny Hoyer saying this, so you can't really just call it propaganda.
No.
There's, a recording of what he said. So, I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about some stuff locally too, what you're doing, just if you happen to have local viewers. It said that, let's see, your printout here you gave me says, okay, you demand the military be required to immediately clean up its Superfund sites at Air Station Patuxent River and Indian Head Naval Surface Warfare Center, and that you demand a cessation of live weapons testing in the Potomac. So, do you want to go into that a little bit? You have, what is the Annapolis, right? I know that's not your district, but you've got a bit of military there, right?
Right. That's the state capital, and it's also where the Navy is located as well. For years, the Navy has tested live armaments and fired them into the Potomac River from a base that's 20 miles south of Washington. That base is actually in Dahlgren, Virginia, but the Potomac, most people don't understand, is actually entirely owned by the state of Maryland, to its line of Virginia. It's been like that since the colonial period. And so if you go to the EPA Superfund sites, you'll see that PHBs and carcinogenics and depleted uranium and mercury and all these phosphates and these horrible pollutants, result from firing live munitions, as well as fish kills and other horrendous things. It's an abomination. And I live another 20 miles south of there, and you can actually feel the ripple in your eardrums when they start bombing, and they're lobbing huge shells into the center of the Potomac River. It's just not a good idea for the environment, and so I call for its immediate cessation. But the point is, you certainly aren't going to get that dialogue going if you limit the debate to two corporate parties.
Right.
We also have the Patuxent Naval Air Test Center in Lexington Park, which is where I live, as well as the Naval Surface Warfare Systems base, and that's up in Charles County on the Potomac. So on one side of our county we have the Patuxent and the Chesapeake. On the other side we have the Potomac. Between the two, it's going to cost over $400 million, to clean up. And Hoyer has a press release that is still on his website, and it says that he celebrates the 75 years of weapons ordnance disposal at the site in our 5th district. And he has also attracted a Norwegian firm named Nammo, and Nammo creates missiles, and when you develop and fire missiles, you have a problem with disposal. And the Norwegians are very sensitive environmentally. They really protect their fjords. They're super sensitive. Their military switched to non-lead bullets, and so they like to come to Maryland's 5th Congressional District to fire their ammunition and bury their ordnance. Even though it's brokered by Steny Hoyer.
We are getting a report or two back that your volume is very low. So I don't know if you might be able to just turn up input somewhere. I'm not sure.
I got it right here. How about that?
Okay, well, keep talking.
Yeah, I got it. You mean talking about stuff?
Right. We'll just let Brian check here on
Brian, am I
Facebook.
good? Let's see what I have. Mute.
That's kind of strange.
Pretty good. Should be stronger, right?
Hopefully so.
Brian has muted himself.
Yeah. All right. Let me check one thing. I think we're good here. It's just evening of some technical challenges a little bit here.
Problem.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Brian, do you want to here? Brian, unmute and you talk for a minute. See if you get any reports. If it's
Okay.
if it's you or both of you guys. So you
I'm
have to.
listening for it now. It seems like it might be better now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had my microphone awfully far away when we were getting that reverb, you know,
Okay.
so my microphone and my speaker were too close to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do that.
Okay. It's hard to tell because it's clear here on Zoom and it kind of doesn't. The problems don't show up until you stream it out a couple places. So.
It's smart to check that.
Yeah, okay. I think we're good. So, yeah, okay, so we were talking about some of Steny Hoyer's entanglements, we'll call them, right?
Right.
One
Well,
of
we have another development in the 5th District, and that has to do with Dominion Energy, which is a Virginia corporation, is developing the Cove Point fracked gas plant, where they turn the gas that is brought down pipelines into liquefied natural gas, which is then shipped, you know, around the world. And so Calvert County, Maryland, is slowly becoming a center of these exports. And there are other smokestacks that are being built by Dominion right now to expedite the speed of the fracked gas going through the pipelines, and so we will soon have, within about 3 years, the greatest cluster of non-renewable fossilized fuel than anywhere in the nation. So we will have between 5 or 6 smokestacks burning fossil fuels within about 22 or 23 miles of each other. And that's a testament to Steny Hoyer. People don't connect the dots, though. They don't connect the dots. The
Right.
Chalk Point plant had a disastrous leak a few years ago that just killed millions of fish and crabs up and down the Patuxent River. And yet, it really didn't make that much of a deal. It didn't resonate. And people are very slow to really understand how deadly breathing in PM10s and phosphates and the residues of coal is. This is not good in the body.
I think we have an across the board problem with the root cause analysis in general. But yeah, I mean, what do they think when they go to their nice restaurant to have some crab? I mean, and there's not any, or it's contaminated. You know, you would think people would think a few steps down and figure it out.
Or the direct link to respiratory disease. I mean, we know that, and yet,
Oh, you can just take an inhaler for that.
sure. Or clean coal is part of the lexicon. I mean, people really equate coal with the new kind of clean energy, and yet that stuff billows out and sprinkles a silent death over the water and the land, and we breathe that stuff. And when you go to Europe, and I just spent 2.5 weeks on a peacemaking mission in Europe,
Awesome.
as crazy as that sounds, but you know, a lot of these nations, particularly Germany, has solved a lot of these problems. They've solved the healthcare problem. They've solved the fossil fuel problem. They've solved the college tuition problem. These are problems that are solved because you don't have the corrupting influence of money
Right.
in politics.
Right.
And
Right.
when I was 16, I worked for Common Cause and the good guys, and I met John Gardner, and John Gardner had been Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare under the Johnson administration. That was pretty heady stuff for me, but my job as a 16-year-old in Washington was to lobby delegates and alternates in Midwest states for the Common Cause platform. And damn if it isn't pretty much the same thing as you got me to sign 40 years ago.
Yeah.
See, I love this. We had another candidate recently, Rich Stevenson. I'm not sure how close you guys are in age, but it's interesting to learn that this isn't new for you or for him. You guys have been at this for decades,
Yeah.
and it must be good though to be, I don't know, getting more traction now. I think at least more of the public is awake and paying attention. Still not enough, but
I don't know. You know, I had just a an eye-opening experience. I taught introductory writing last semester at the College of Southern Maryland, and I had 20 18-year-olds in my class, and I mean these are kids that didn't pass the initial test, the AccuPlacer, in order to be put into writing 101.
I hate to interrupt you, but you're still. I'm getting a notice. You're still muffled.
Okay, how about now?
We'll have to.
Right up to me. Are you getting the muffling?
I'm just not sure where the problem is. Let's see if anyone can give me feedback. Brian, you always talk too much. Talk some more here.
Hold on.
And because the two of you should sound the same, or the problem is somewhere within your mic there. But so I'll ask this question, but we'll see. I want to make sure people can hear you.
Sure.
So what kind of response do you get when you're in an area where by Annapolis, where you've got military families and people have been in the military for years and that's their livelihood? So do they see that you as, here he's coming to, shut down my livelihood, basically? That this is something we see across the country, right? But what kind of response do you?
Installation at the Patuxent Naval Air Test Center in Lexington Park dwarfs that in Annapolis.
Oh, okay. I don't know the area that well, but just okay.
Pax River is what it's called, and they test the F-35 here.
Okay.
Well,
So
I have difficult time. There's no question about it. Even just flyering during the Maryland's recent primaries was difficult for me. I would give information to people and they would look at it, and I would just say, kind of 6 or 8 points that, is pretty typically progressive Democrat stuff,
What is that? Sorry.
Well,
I think that's a
mean,
creature.
like a Bernie Sanders type of information.
Okay.
Free health care. Medicare for all. Let's take care of the environment. Let's take care of student debt, and let's increase taxation. That kind of thing. And I had people crumble it up and hand it back to me. Look at it, turn it into a ball of trash, and put it back in my hand. And I don't expect to get too many votes down here, but I do expect that in just a few blocks in towns like Hyattsville, College Park, or Riverdale, I may get more votes there in a block or two than an entire rural district down here. Rural county. Especially counties that have a heavy military presence.
Right. Well, it's still such low voter turnout. That's, I always think, how do you reach those non-voters? Maybe that's something to tap into there.
12%, you said in primary, huh?
Less than 12% voted in the primary.
Well, Steny Hoyer's been in office since 1981.
I know, I saw that. So that doesn't show a whole lot of enthusiasm for him, really. I mean, even let's see, what was it? Oh, I didn't write down the numbers that you had. Oh, okay, no, 64,273 to, well, whatever it was, 67%. But there's still such low numbers of people coming out. It seems like you could possibly have a situation with the Ocasio-Cortez and Crowley race where, right?
Who knows?
Yeah.
We're very excited. I had a series of meetings today up in Greenbelt, and there's potential here. I think I just need to be able to debate. Let's get guys like me, women, on the stage to debate. We need to talk about healthcare. We need to talk about the environment. We need to talk about military budgets that are over $700 billion. These are topics that don't get discussed. So we're promised by the League of Women Voters that if we reach 5%, we can be on the stage, and we'd like to poll that. And it makes you start thinking strategically. How the heck do you do it when you don't really have any money? You get a volunteer army of people. They have page flyers who flyer at metro stops and some large road signs. And then because the mainstream media doesn't seem to pay attention to green candidates at all. We're too much of a threat to their bottom line.
Or independents either.
Really?
So, or actually, really, any real grassroots progressive Democrats that want to change things, they also get the media blackout. So, and you guys are all similar, really. I mean, there are slight differences there, or more focus on some issues than others, obviously, but it's a common thread, and the mainstream media definitely does not want to cover you guys, for sure. I wanted to share another interesting thing that I found about Hoyer, was that, Hoyer supported, government transparency the second least often. So out of 21 government transparency, accountability, and effectiveness bills, he only sponsored and voted for the HR 4396 Me Too Congress Act. So he doesn't seem like a candidate that would want to sign candidates with a contract.
No, I don't think so. Where did you get that? I want to pick it up too.
This is, I'll send you a link. It's on GitHub government track, and it basically shows some of their voting record here. Accountability and effectiveness bills. I'll send you the link, and I'll share it here on the Facebook page. But I think it's so important that we follow the money, and follow if the candidate has already been in office, follow their voting record, obviously, not what they say. And all these things are available to us now. We can just go look it up, so we don't fall for it.
.org is a great site as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Responsive Politics does excellent work. People don't understand it. They don't understand the connection between the money and policy.
Right.
And that's one goal, of my campaign, and certain others across the country. We need to get those dots connected across the country. Look, you don't have health care because somebody's in office in his 17th term who has, for 17 election cycles, taken money from the interests that want to make sure the status quo remains.
Or if you have health care, your premiums keep going up. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And we are sane.
So.
To be treated.
Right.
Like sane.
It's not a crazy idea to want your elected officials to represent you instead of the special interests. So I see here Northrop Grumman, McAndrews, and Forbes. A lot of electric utilities are all giving him money. So raised just this year 2017 to 2018, almost $3.1 million, and it's just those numbers are just obscene to me.
Well, look at his career from AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Action Committee. Right. The number above a million, and when the Israeli Defense Forces, that's the IDF, opened fire on Palestinians in Gaza last month, it was a massacre.
Yeah.
They killed 73, 77 people, and they shot 1,800. And they targeted medics and shot them in the knees, and not a single member of the IDF was wounded. And the next day, Steny was quoted as saying that Israel has every right in the world to act that way because they're defending their territory.
Wow.
That's right. And so it's not just the money. And I've gotten to the point of seeing through this. It's not just the money. It's the belief that Israel is, a great democracy and a great friend of the United States in the Middle East. And yet, I read an article today out of Israel that claims that the Knesset just voted to ban counter recruiters and people that don't say nice things about the state of Israel from all Israeli public schools. So I've spent 20 years countering military recruitment, or at least trying to get people to understand that children are vulnerable and that military recruiters are psychologically trained predators, and we have to watch out. So this was alarming news to me because it seems that in so many issues, the Israelis lead the way, and the Americans follow suit.
I think we have a problem of still too many people are just tuned out and don't know the details about that. And I think, to some extent you can't really blame Americans because they're trying to make it paycheck to paycheck, and so they're seeing like what's right in front of them, a large amount, of people. So it's just to look outside of that is difficult. But
it is. I've spent years teaching GED, the GED program, at the local high school, and also at the detention center. So I've gotten to know a lot of folks in the jails, and I've also worked, with the local homeless. It's not really a homeless shelter, but we're not allowed to have people spend the night. Regulations, but we are allowed to have them come in during the day and shower, and we are allowed to feed them. So, I've gotten to know that population, and some of it is the same population. We desperately need federal help in funding mental health services. And one of the greatest needs is just to take care of the homeless. And it's an irony because there is a patch of ground and it's almost equidistant to two Lockheed Martin offices down here. Of course, Lockheed is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that just profits handsomely from the Defense Department. The homeless live in a patch of ground there, and there's a couple hundred now, and they'll come in and they just, it's horrible. Chiggers and tick bites and mosquito bites infected in their feet, and then they'll take a shower, but then they'll just put their dirty socks back on, and you gotta clean the dirty socks, and you gotta put Neosporin on there, you gotta keep them dressed, but then you get them all fixed up, you send them back out, and, they'll come back in another 2 days all festive and all, and so it doesn't exist in a lot of the European countries. They're so ahead of us.
Right.
We got to do better. That's why I'm in this race.
Brian,
for all the right reasons. get 2 or 3%.
Well,
Yeah.
historically, yes, that's been how it goes for Green Party candidates. However, it's improving, and I still just think there are all those non-voters to be reached. But Brian, you were going to say something, I think, about, I don't know, when I was.
Yeah, the thing is, you look at what the media reports on, and they're not really talking about the bigger issues. They keep bringing up Trump and the nonsense going on there, but you don't hear about any of these real issues. When was the last time you heard them talk about universal health care? When was the last time you heard them talk about the high cost of college tuition? They're not talking about these things. They're not talking about our energy costs. They're not talking about the long-term effects of fossil fuel usage. They're not talking about any of these things. So of course the American people aren't cued into what's going on, because nobody that they're listening to is talking about it.
Right. Well, that's just media agenda setting. I
Right.
mean, yeah. It tells you what to think and when to think it.
Back to that idea when I taught, writing at College of Southern Maryland, and I had the kids do, basically 5-paragraph descriptive essays, argumentative essays based on news stories. And after about 5 papers, midway through the semester, I gave them a poll, and I asked them 20 questions. Kind of like true or false stuff, and just to get an idea where they were politically. And I asked, should the United States bomb Iran? And 16 said yes, and 4 said no. This is 2 hours south of Washington. I asked them, should the United States bomb Korea? And the numbers were the same. Should we bomb these countries? Yes, of course we should. And curiously, I asked them if, they supported, student debt being relieved and basically governmental payment of tuition. And they were opposed to that, but only by a margin of 11 to 9. And so when we discussed it, they said that it's socialism, that's not what America's about. America is not about bringing people in from other countries and then taking care of them, and that's exactly what would happen. America is about working hard and having nobody help you, and having the pride and the dignity of pulling yourself up from your bootstraps. Now that is communicated through textbooks that exist in American schools to enforce or reinforce the neoliberal order as a free market solution. And that's what you got. And if we wonder why only 18% vote or 12% or whatever that is, we need to look to what's inside of the head of a 12-year-old. A 12-year-old, how do you settle conflict between countries? Will you bomb them or do you talk to them?
Right.
And I can tell you that the 12-year-olds that I've known and taught at this point would say, well, you got to bomb them. And they're sitting there with the game controls, with the first-person shooter games, and we're in a world of trouble. It's not the same deal.
I agree.
And the working hard, yes, that you should, right? But the whole system is so corrupted now. This isn't 1950s where you could work hard, have, raise a family on maybe even a blue-collar job, at least have some standard of living. Maybe it wasn't luxurious, but it's just not the same anymore. And I noticed, I think this is a huge divide by age. I'm kind of right on the cusp there. I remember they kept saying during the primary that 45 and under were for Bernie, majority.
45.
And yes, and over 45 was for Hillary. And I think that has a lot to do with your individual experience with what, a lot of people that baby boomers or older, they grew up middle class. And I think what they don't understand is that just making ends meet with all the increase of housing costs, with the housing bubble that happened, the health insurance, that you're just working really hard on a gerbil wheel just to keep it going. It's, And there's no way. I mean, I think there was this study like you can't buy or you can't rent an apartment anywhere in the country anymore on minimum wage. Just a crappy little 1-bedroom apartment, I believe. Might have been 2, but anyway, something very
You do the math. You can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just unacceptable. So saying yes, of course people should work hard, and I think that's part of the myth that they want us to keep thinking that yeah, it's just the fault of people, and sure, some people are going to work harder than others, but it should be what was the quote, Brian? You said it recently, the equality of opportunity, but
Right.
not necessarily.
Opportunity, but not an equality of outcomes.
Right.
We're not looking for that. We're
No.
looking for just the ability for people to have the equal opportunity that everybody else gets. Nobody in their right mind is asking for an equality of outcomes. That's absurd. But that's what they keep trying to tell us that we want.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Nobody wants that. That's crazy.
But as long as they push that narrative, then it works. And then 12-year-olds believe it.
12-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, I had an opportunity 2 weeks ago to address 3,000 people in Kaiserslautern, Germany, as part of an anti-war demonstration conference that took place out of right outside of the base of Ramstein Air Base, which is the headquarters of the U.S. drone force.
Right.
And you know, I spoke with Ann Wright. Ann Wright is a colonel and a retired colonel. I don't know if you've heard of Ann Wright, but she's
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, but you know, I spoke to these people on you know, the military recruitment in the United States and how different things are between our two countries, and how ready our youth are to join the armed forces, and it scared them.
Yeah.
Because Kaiserslautern has 57,000 Americans in service that live in Kaiserslautern.
But why is that? Why are they so eager? Are there really that many people that want to, you know, join in war, or is it because we don't have a decent jobs program or decent college?
It's one of the reasons I joined. I served in the Navy for 10 years. And the main reason I signed up is because I wanted to go back to school, but I couldn't afford it at the time. It was just too expensive to pay for a university tuition. So I decided I'd go ahead and join the service. And with my luck, of course, you know, just a few months later is when 9/11 happened. So
Right. Good luck.
yeah.
Well, you know, 40% of the enlistees every year come from a handful of southern states. So I think they're developing a kind of warrior caste. I'm the author of a book, Military Recruiting in the United States. I don't know if I mentioned that.
No, that's great.
Yeah, military recruiting in the United States. You can go to www.counter-recruit.org. www.counter-recruit.org. I'm also the director of the National Coalition to Protect Student Privacy, which is an organization that exists to counter the influence of military recruiters. So it's been the focus of my work in the last 20 years.
Say that again. It's the National
National Coalition to Protect Student Privacy.
Okay.
Hence my email, pelder@student.
Okay.
So I wrote legislation in the state of Maryland, 2 pieces that, and I went to, of all people, Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin is a congressman now from the state of Maryland. He represents Maryland's 8th. I was up at Capitol Hill speaking with Steny three weeks ago. But we passed 2 pieces of legislation, and one of them makes it necessary for the military to have parental consent, signed consent, for children to take the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. That's the enlistment test. It's good for 2 years. So parents were out of the loop, and the military wants to find out how smart people are. So nearly a million kids now are tested in high schools across the country. It has grown rapidly, and there are over 1,000 high schools now that require students to take the military's entrance test. So we got, yeah, yeah. I've gotten information through a Freedom of Information Act request for 9 years in a row. So I've tracked the stuff seriously. You can go onto our website, studentprivacy.org. But anyway, we passed a law in Maryland, and we were able to duplicate that law in Hawaii and in New Hampshire. So we only have 47 states to go.
I just wonder why it's so hard for people to understand that, no one's really proposing we just, kill all military spending. But when you look at how much is being spent and what we could do with that here at home for all these other great things, I don't understand why that's such a complicated concept for some people.
It's absurd.
It's absurd. The one F-35 costs about $125 million, and we can run, our county school system. We have 3 high schools, and I think 7 middle schools, and 19, 20, 22 elementary schools. We can run them all on it with the cost of.
So, if the parents would think, well, maybe I won't be asked to bring in, 2 tons of, if anybody is listening that has small children, to bring in Kleenex and Clorox wipes and basically all these supplies now. You're asked that all the time from the public school systems. So if people would start thinking about that, like, okay, this money is going to this, fighter jet that's going to sit in a hangar somewhere, so I have to spend more of my money buying crayons or whatever for the school.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
People are not putting the pieces together and realizing that the reason they have it so difficult is because so much of our money is getting spent on these things that are actually making things worse for everybody else in the world. It's absolutely absurd.
Everybody else.
And we've got to start fighting back against this. It's one of the reasons I myself joined the Green Party, is because I want to see this movement grow. And now that I'm a committee member, I have an opportunity to help bring people in and really start to see it flourish. We've got to get these movements going, because without them, people don't have a voice, because and without that voice, they won't get the representation that they deserve.
Right.
Well, one of the things I love about working with candidates with the contract and with CFAR is that it really kind of goes across party lines, though. Again, a lot of the candidates have similar things to say, but we really just look at the issues and not the party name. But I actually have voted Green in 2 presidential elections myself. This last one, Jill Stein, and my first one was Ralph Nader. Yeah, right. So I'm definitely not an any blue will do kind of voter, which, that is kind of the raging debate right now. Is people feel very strongly about that. Either there are a lot of people that Dem exited and said, I'm never coming back. And there are a lot of people that are still hoping that it can be reformed. I think it's not impossible, but the candidates have to band together to do so. So we'll see.
Attempt to do that. I have a couple comments on the contract for American Renewal. Can I?
Absolutely, sure.
Absolutely.
I signed the document. I'm behind it. Because I'm a consensus kind of guy.
Right.
But you say that you're for initiating government investment over 5 years, towards rebuilding our crumbling roads, and I just wouldn't put a timeline on that.
I can see that.
And then you have ending the war in Afghanistan, ending the unnecessary military exploits across the globe, except we're absolutely required to protect the safety of American citizens. I mean, I would tailor that a little bit to tighten it up, that's all. I mean, it does sort of leave the Pandora's box open, so I don't, not to wordsmith now, but I didn't like it. And then you say to establish a progressive estate tax on the top 0.3% of Americans who inherit more than 3.5 million. I mean, those are pretty arbitrary numbers. I mean, I would go even more progressively than that. I mean, 3.5 million sounds like one hell of a lot of money to me. And most of the nations in the OECD have caps that are much lower than that, if they even exist. So,
Right.
So, and then the January 1980 levels don't do it for me. I would have taxation of people, with incomes above 2 million at 50%. So that's even stronger than what you have here. And then, there's something here I have a serious question about where you say expanding Social Security by lifting the cap on taxable income above 250. I think the taxable income now is something like 127.4. I don't know where you got the two, or maybe I'm not reading it right. Do you mean the taxable income? I mean, what do you mean there? Expanding Social Security by lifting the cap on taxable income above 250. So have a cap at 250 so that somebody that makes 251 doesn't get taxed on that additional 1,000. I mean, for your listeners.
So, yeah, did
is 7.65%.
Brian, did you share this also to the CFAR Facebook page? Or no, we didn't yet. We weren't sure if you had signed that yet. So that is a good question, and I will have to consult the original author of CFAR.
CFAR has my name on the website.
Okay, he has it now. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm cool.
Okay. So we'll consult John Rachel on that one. But maybe do you want to talk anything about candidates with a contract, which is more of a anti-corruption?
Well, I love it. Okay. At one point I'm reading through this and going, I couldn't have written it any better. And I could see myself in a committee of 6 or 8 people hammering out something like this and going, yeah, we got it. One part where you have the Article 2 and partisan gerrymandering.
Mm-hmm.
You used the word that scared the hell out of me.
Okay.
Algorithm.
Oh. Algorithm. Okay.
It's like Al Gore rhythm? Like Al Gore, he started the internet, right? What,
Yeah.
I don't understand. I do know that as late as November or October of last year, I was able to put together a pretty darn good Facebook post to my 1,800, friends, and then put it out publicly, and I would get a feel for, okay, this thing is going to get me 150 likes and 50 shares. Okay, this is really cool. And it has to do with recruiting or whatever it has to do with, and it's something that I've been working on forever, and I just cobbled this together. And I would be right a lot of the times, but now because of Al Gore's rhythm, it's like I get with like 2 shares, one from some guy in India and one from a dude in China, and then I'll get like 3 likes, one from my daughter.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Well, another thing, we are going to be adding at some point, things have kind of slowed down with this, but I know it's in the works. There's also going to be an election integrity kind of addendum to this contract too. So basically where, in a nutshell, if a candidate runs into any funny business like Tim Canova did down in Florida, there will be they'll sign a contract or sign this, it'll be part of CWAC, where there will be election integrity activists like on the ready, and even some attorneys that have, because right now the efforts are very scattered. Whenever something happens, it's up to each individual candidate to try to fight it, and there are a lot of great people working in election integrity activism, but they haven't really kind of all banded together. And so we hosted a discussion back in May. We had Ray Lutz and John Brakey, who's been at this for a decade. Maybe you know some of these names, but anyway, they're doing great work, and we hope that we can add that with this. So there's extra power in this contract, because we know that the establishment is going to try to, the corporate Dems or the corporate Republicans are all going to try to thwart efforts by candidates. And if they get enough attention, they'll be smeared, and in some cases they might have ballots destroyed. So it's happened. So yeah.
I had one other, one other point to make. It's odd for me to be taking this side. If you look at Article 2, the congressional salaries to the national median income.
Yep, 174.
Yep, you got it. And you say, currently the base pay for a rank and file member of Congress is 174 per year, which equates to about 330% of the national median income,
Mm-hmm.
right? $2,000 a year. This clause would lock in that percentage, including cost of living adjustments. I mean, I like the direction you're going on,
Mm-hmm.
but there are cost of living increases, differences between regions. DC is
Sure.
a darn expensive place to live. So.
I know there are all those congressmen like camping out in the offices and stuff. Did you hear that? They're literally
Occasionally, these guys will, they'll have late, yeah. And, it's such an absurd thing. What percent are millionaires? I mean, I get it, but when I'm reading this, I'm thinking of guys like me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You give me 52 a year in DC, and I have to live about 40 miles out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's all. I mean, that's pretty darn good. And I'm hell when it comes to drafting stuff. You don't want to work with me.
Well, we probably should have invited Scott Ferguson on. We weren't prepared for the legal questions, but he's. Yeah, we should have had the original authors of the contracts on, but
You don't need to do that. I mean, I just, I've learned so much over the years, just in Iraq War, the first Iraq War organizing, and then just anti-nuclear stuff, and it's people. There's an art of crafting consensus, and
Yes.
part of that art is the abstention. It's something people forget about. When you bring a whole bunch of people together, as I was party to in Europe with representatives from 15 European countries on how to deal with U.S. bases that have nuclear weapons. I mean, serious stuff going on, man. And how, you just, we're all together on this. And,
Mhm.
maybe one guy is a little bit too headstrong and hasn't learned the art of abstention. Like,
Mhm.
I'm it's not that big of an issue. It's a difficult concept.
and really, why do we still have that many bases all over the place? I don't understand that. Why do we?
Makes no sense.
I know this might.
Quite ridiculous.
Some people might not like this sentiment, but I just wonder why the U.S. thinks. I mean, how would we react if other countries did that here? We're the bully of the world, and
There's a base. It's Buchel, Buchel, and it's in the westernmost extremity of Germany, not far from maybe 60 kilometers from the shared border with Belgium and the Netherlands. And it's an or Belgium and France. I'm sorry. But there are U.S. B-61 nuclear bombs that are about 8 times the power of Hiroshima.
what?
That are affixed to German Tornado jets that will, if given the order by President Trump, fly to Russia to drop them. And Belgium has them, and so did the Netherlands. And it just struck me when I was in Belgium during the World Cup that was taking place. Belgium was playing, I think it was Brazil, in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And just to know that, President Trump can order that these bombs be dropped, and it bothers the Europeans. it bothers the Germans especially.
I
That's
think
blue
so.
line for
Yeah, I think so.
so. We're all enemies of the state.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. Well, you were at the vigil practicing that in D.C., right?
Yeah.
Being vocal
And
about
that's
that.
where we met.
Yep.
Julian Assange.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to do another hour if we get into that one. So, which I'm all for. We do a more kind of informal chat on the weekends. We
Where
on.
are you right now? Are you in North Carolina now?
I'm in North Carolina. Yep. Right by UNC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's
Not
a.
that far. Do you know where I am? Do you know where?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I actually lived in DC for about a year.
Okay.
So-
yeah, I'm 2 hours south of it.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I go up there pretty frequently. So yeah, whenever there's an event, a good conferences, I like to travel. It's only about 4.5 hours, so
Yeah, it's worth it.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, we do on Saturday nights, and this is not attached with candidates with a contract or CFAR, but we host a Saturday night, I guess, show. It's like this, and people can come on and join and talk. And last weekend we had candidate Rich Stevenson, who's an independent in Kentucky, come on, and writers sometimes will come on, and we just talk about all this stuff. So sometimes it goes into war, sometimes it's just about journalism, about candidates, just everything. So yeah, if you ever want.
The contracts are excellent work. They're extremely well written, and we need to get we get more folks to sign them.
Absolutely.
They're just so commonsensical to me.
Right. And we're not funded by anyone either. So that's also something that people don't have to worry about. I always hear concerns, chatter, from people about different groups. What party are they funded by and things like that. So I think I always kind of like to brag that we're broke. So we're just about the issues, and it's a candidate promise to the voter that I am for these things and will fight for these things if I'm elected. So, yeah. Okay, well, it's great to have you on, Pat.
And I enjoyed myself. I knew I would once we got the technical stuff taken care of.
Yeah, it had a few little bumps in the road there, but that's okay.
So, Brian, I guess I have your email. I'll link you up with my daughter. She's in Huntington Beach, and yeah.
Is she with the Green Party?
I don't know. She may even be more lefty than that.
Okay.
I was talking to Brian when you were gone, Kelly, and my daughter Holly lived in Ramallah for a couple years.
Ah.
Kind of went back to Huntington Beach to recharge her batteries, but she's heading back.
Wow.
Yeah, intense. I don't know where she got those politics from.
Can't imagine.
Okay, guys.
All right. Thank you so much for talking with us, Pat.
It was an honor, and it was fun too.
And we can also do the online town hall or sometime for you if you like, where you could invite.
Yeah. Oh, please do.
Yeah.
You could do one of those town halls where only one person sitting in the chair.
Yeah. Right. Well, you let people know ahead of time, and then we could have up to about probably 10. Any more than that, it gets a little crazy. But just regular people could come on and join and ask you questions directly. So we could set that up just like we did here, if you like.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thanks
All right.
a lot.
Good night.
Oh, good night, Pat.